today would like to discuss about the circulatory system. For the transportation of various substances in the body, we require a system. So this is called transport system. So the transportation of various substances in the body, particularly the digestive food material, excretory substances, and the various chemicals released in the body are transported to the target places by blood. So it is also called as blood vascular system. For the first time, the blood vascular system was experimentally demonstrated by William Harvey. So this William Harvey is honored as father of blood vascular system. The blood vascular system mainly contains heart, blood vessels, and blood. Let us discuss about the heart. In human beings, the heart is myogenic. It is made up of cardiac muscles. The heart is myogenic and it is made up of cardiac muscles. So the nature of these cardiac muscles is they are striated and involuntary. That means the cardiac muscles contains A bands and I bands, so it is called as striated, and it is involuntary. The functioning of heart is not under our will, not under our control, so it is involuntary. The approximate weight of heart is 300 grams. The study of heart is called cardiology. The heart is protected by or surrounded by protective layers. So these protective layers are called pericardium. So the pericardium contains different layers. So in between these layers there is a fluid substance. It is called pericardial fluid. This pericardial fluid acts as a shock absorber. It protects the heart from shocks and injuries. The heart contains 4 chambers. The heart contains 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are called auricles, or you can say atrium, and the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. So this is left auricle or left atrium, and this is right auricle or right atrium, and this is left ventricle and this is right ventricle. So these auricles are smaller than the ventricles, or you can say the ventricles are larger than the auricles. So in heart, the blood always flows from auricles to ventricles. So the reverse flow of blood from ventricles to auricles is prevented by valves. There are mainly 2 types of valves. So they are tricuspid valve, so which is present between right auricle and right ventricle. The second one is bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve. There are two valves are present between the left auricle and left ventricle. So they are called bicuspid valves. This bicuspid valve is also called mitral valve. Here we can expect the question, the tricuspid valve is present between right auricle and right ventricle, or bicuspid valve is also called as mitral valve, and mitral valve is present between left auricle and left ventricle. So there are two types of valves. They are called bicuspid valves or mitral valves. They are present between left auricle and left ventricle. So these are bicuspid valves. And three valves are present between the right auricles and right ventricle. So these are called tricuspid valves. So these tricuspid valves prevents the tricuspid valve and bicuspid valves. They prevents the reverse flow of blood from ventricles to auricles. So the blood always flows from auricles to ventricles. Let us see heartbeat. The rhythmic contractions and relaxations of heart muscles is called heartbeat. This heartbeat is measured with an instrument called stethoscope. The heartbeat is determined by stethoscope. So one heartbeat is equals to one contraction plus one relaxation. Or you can say heartbeat is equals to one systole plus one diastole, or one heartbeat is equals to one lub plus one dub. We'll have a sound during contraction, that is lub, and we'll have a sound called dub during relaxation. So one contraction and relaxation constitutes one heartbeat, or one systole, one diastole is called as one heartbeat. The number of contractions in a given time, or the number of contractions and relaxations per minute is called rate of heartbeat. So this rate of heartbeat differs, or the rate of heartbeat varies at different age groups. The rate of heartbeat in newly born child, the rate of heartbeat in newly born child is 130 to 140 times per minute, and the rate of heartbeat in an adult is 70 to 80 times per minute. The rate of heartbeat in old age persons, it is 60 to 70 times per minute. So heartbeat means the rhythmic contractions and relaxations in a given the rhythmic contractions and relaxations of heart muscles is called heartbeat. This heartbeat is determined by an instrument called stethoscope. So one heartbeat constitutes one contraction and one relaxation, one systole and one diastole, one lub and one dub. So rate of heartbeat, the number of contractions and relaxations in a given time is called rate of heartbeat. The number of systoles and diastoles in a given time is called as rate of heartbeat. So this rate of heartbeat varies at different age groups. So the duration of this heartbeat is 0.8 seconds. The duration of heartbeat is 0.8 seconds. The heartbeat contains three steps. So one is contraction of auricles, the contraction of ventricles and relaxation of ventricles. The duration of heartbeat is 0.8 seconds. The heartbeat contains 3 steps. So contraction of auricles, contraction of ventricles and relaxation of ventricles. In the heart, that is in the right auricle, a special type of cardiomyocyte cells are there. Cardiomyocytes are there. So at these cardiomyocytes, a spark of electricity is generated. The place where the heartbeat is initiated is called pacemaker. Here you can expect the question. A pacemaker is a structure present in heart. A pacemaker is related to heart. Pacemaker is the region where special type of cardiomyocyte cells are there. There the heartbeat is initiated. Here this pacemaker is present in the right auricle. Here SA node, that means sino-auricular node. The sino-auricular node or SA node is considered as the pacemaker. Let us see blood pressure. So before going to that one, just you have to remember the terminology is tachycardia and bradycardia, or it is also called as brachycardia. The abnormal increase in the rate of heartbeat, is called tachycardia. The abnormal decrease in the rate of heartbeat is called bradycardia or brachycardia. So let us see blood pressure. It is called BP. The pressure exerted by the flow of blood in the walls of the vessels is called blood pressure. The pressure exerted by blood on the walls of the vessels is called blood pressure. So this blood pressure is measured with an instrument, sphygmomanometer. The pressure exerted by the flow of blood on the walls of the vessels is called blood pressure. The blood pressure is measured with an instrument, sphygmomanometer. The normal blood pressure in a healthy person is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. You have to remember the units. So simply the question may be expected here. The blood pressure is measured in, so it will give millimeters of mercury or centimeters of mercury, Pascal or atmosphere. So you have to remember millimeters of mercury. Here 120 indicates systole pressure and 80 indicates diastole pressure. So when the blood vessels are in contracted position, there exerts a high pressure. That high pressure we called as systole pressure. This may be 120 millimeters of mercury. And when the blood vessels are in relaxed position, there also exerts a minimum pressure. This pressure we called as diastole pressure. When the blood pressure is more than the normal value, it is called high BP or you can say hypertension. When the blood pressure is less than the normal value, it is called low BP or hypotension. So the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the vessels is called blood pressure. This blood pressure is measured with an instrument called sphygmomanometer. The normal range of blood pressure in a healthy person is 120 by 80 millimeters of mercury. Here 120 indicates systolic pressure and 80 indicates diastolic pressure. So when the blood pressure is more than the normal value, it is called high BP or hypertension. When the blood pressure is less than the normal value, it is called low BP or hypotension. So the main reasons for heart attack. There are various factors responsible for this heart attack. The main internal factors responsible for this heart attack are atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, myocardial infarction, and cardiomegaly. So these are the main internal factors responsible for heart attack. There are also some various external factors which initiates the heart attack. So they includes stress, obesity, smoking, and alcoholism. Here, atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis means, so this is a coronary artery, means the artery which supplies blood to heart muscles. This is called coronary artery. When this coronary artery is blocked with fats or cholesterol is deposited in the interior of the coronary artery, thereby the blood will not be supplied properly to the heart muscles, thereby the heart functioning stops temporarily. This condition is called as atherosclerosis. And arteriosclerosis, due to various reasons, the wall of the coronary artery gets thickened. This condition is called arteriosclerosis. And myocardial infarction. So that means if the heart muscles are infected, thereby the heart functioning stops. So this infection of heart muscles is called myocardial infarction. And cardiomegaly, when the thiamine vitamin, that is B1 vitamin, is severely deficient, the heart muscles enlarges in size. This enlargement is called as cardiomegaly. It may also leads to heart attack. And these are the external factors which either directly or indirectly influences the rate of heart attack. So these are stress, obesity, smoking, and alcoholism. The proper functioning of this heart is determined by an instrument called ECG, electrocardiogram. This instrument is used to determine the functioning of heart. So let us discuss about the blood vessels. The blood vessels are mainly divided into two types. So they are arteries and veins. So these arteries, So these arteries and these are veins. These arteries carries the oxygenated blood, whereas veins carries the deoxygenated blood. That means the arteries carries the oxygenated blood away from heart, whereas the veins collects the impure blood or deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body and it will be transported towards the heart. The arteries are called distributing vessels and the veins are called collecting vessels. That means as the arteries distributes the pure or oxygenated blood to different parts of the body, so they are called distributing vessels, and the veins as they collects the impure or deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body, so they are called collecting vessels. And these arteries are thick walled, they are thick walled and they are deeply seated, and these veins are they are thin walled and they are superficial. So let us see some important arteries. This is systemic artery, or it is also called as aorta. Coronary artery, hepatic artery, renal artery, and pulmonary artery. Systemic artery or aorta. So this is left auricle and left ventricle. This is right auricle and right ventricle. So the systemic artery, it is the largest artery. It starts from left ventricle. The systemic artery or aorta, it is the largest artery. It starts from left ventricle and carries pure blood to different parts of the body. And coronary artery. So coronary artery supplies oxygenated blood to heart muscles. Hepatic artery supplies pure or oxygenated blood to liver. Renal artery supplies pure blood to kidneys. And this is the exceptional case. You have to remember, it is very important. Pulmonary artery. This pulmonary artery starts from right ventricle and carries the impure blood. It carries impure or deoxygenated blood to the lungs. This is the exceptional case. This pulmonary artery carries impure blood or deoxygenated blood from right ventricle to the lungs. Let us see the veins. So these veins are the thin walled blood vessels. They are superficially located. They collects the impure or deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body. So let us see some important veins. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and pulmonary vein. Superior vena cava, it collects the impure blood or deoxygenated blood from upper parts of the body So that is from head, neck and hands. Inferior vena cava, it is the largest vein. It collects the impure or deoxygenated blood from lower parts of the body, that is particularly from abdomen and from legs. And this pulmonary vein, it is the exceptional case. It collects the pure or oxygenated blood from lungs. So veins, these are the thin walled blood vessels, they are superficially located. Some important veins are superior vena cava, it collects the impure blood from upper parts of the body. Inferior vena cava, it is the largest vein, it collects the impure blood or deoxygenated blood from lower parts of the body, that is from abdomen and legs. Pulmonary vein, it collects the pure or oxygenated blood from lungs. So we are also having some small microscopic blood vessels, they are called capillaries. So these arteries, as they are the distributing blood vessels, so these arteries ends with capillaries, whereas the veins, they are the veins as they are the collecting blood vessels. So the veins starts with capillaries. So arteries ends with capillaries, whereas the veins starts with capillaries. And the study of these blood vessels is called angiology. Let us discuss about the blood. So this blood is a fluid connective tissue. So the blood is formed in the bone marrow. So this is a bone marrow. So this is a bone marrow, the tissue present inside the bone. So this is a bone marrow. So the blood is formed in the bone marrow, and the formation of this blood is called hemopoiesis. And the study of blood is called hematology. So the blood is a fluid connective tissue because it is liquid in state, it is connecting each and every part of the body, and it is a tissue, it contains different types of cells. The study of blood is called hematology, and the formation of blood is called hemopoiesis. The hemopoiesis occurs in the bone marrow. The approximate quantity of blood is 5 to 6 liters.